Hi, I'm Jerry Miculek, and what we're going to do today, we're going to go over polymer framed semi-automatic handguns. And what I have today are three of the biggest manufacturers of the polymer framed striker fired handguns. So we're going to take a look at them and see what's similar and what's different. Okay guys, we're going to start with the XD9. This is a Springfield Armory product. It's made in Croatia. It's a polymer frame. It has pretty much the American style grip, so when you pick it up, if you're a 1911 fan, it's pretty much going to point where you're looking, so that's a good thing. What you'll notice about it, that the magazine release is ambidextrous. You can push it either left or righty, so out of the box you don't have to do anything to it except push the magazine release. It has 3-dot sighting system, textured front back strap, square trigger guard, safety on the front of the trigger just like most of the polymer guns. Has a cocking indicator on the back of the slide. It has a visual, or you can actually feel it in the dark if you're a tactical guy. Also has a cocking indicator on top. It's kind of nice. It has a 4-inch barrel, weighs 25 ounces. So they came out in 1999, 16 shot capacity in a standard 9mm. So a lot of horsepower in the magazine. Pretty much a nice compact package, got a lot of features for it, so it would even make Rob Latham proud. So let's go ahead and look. Let's look at the next product. We have a Glock Pistol. What you want to realize about the Glocks, guys, these things came out, these were the first polymer guns introduced in 1982. 17 shot capacity in the Glock 17 model. All these guns share pretty much one common factor, is that they have a nitrated finish on the slide and barrel, which makes for a lot less corrosion, easier maintenance. If you like me, that's a good thing. Weighs 24 ounces. The Glock has a 4.5-inch barrel, captivated recoil spring. Also the magazine release on the Glock. If you want to swap it over for the other side, you just basically pull the spring, push it out, put it back in. Pretty easy swap. Has a safety on the front of the trigger, and that's the only safety there is on the Glock. It's the little lever here on the front of the trigger. So square trigger guard. This one comes with a white outline sight. It's been issued to something like 50 countries, so it's been in production a long time. It has a long history. Comes in different calibers. That's what's interesting about the Glock. In Europe, it's even made in .380. So the U.S. products, you'll see them in 9mm, 357 SIG. You see them in 40 Smith & Wesson, 45 Glock, 45 Gap, and also 10mm. So it's a wide variety of product caliber for the product. Also, the fourth generation Glock has interchangeable back straps. So whereas the XD, you're pretty much fixed into one size fits all, the Glock has some flexibility on what you can do for size-wise. Has an accessory rail in the front for a tack light or a laser. Same thing with the XD, square trigger guard. So pretty basic heavy-duty pistol. So it kind of started a trend. I bought my first one back in, I think, 1987. I think I still got it in the box somewhere. I don't think I ever fired it. But anyway, Glock's been around forever. Give you an idea of what they offer. And the next polymer product, which is pretty popular, is the Smith Wesson M&P series. This is an M&P 40. They started producing them about 2005. Has a 4.25-inch barrel in the standard configuration, weighs 24 ounces. Has an accessory rail in the front, a captivated recoil spring, nitrated barrel also, 3-dot sights. You can get them with tritium, you can get them with white dots, and you can put fiber optics on them. So a lot of variety there on sighting on all these guns and what you can do with them. So one of the outstanding features of the Smith & Wesson product is they spent a lot of time and money figuring out the ergonomics of the hand to fit the pistol. So they use pretty much the standard 1911 style grip angle, but what they did to make it more user-friendly, when it comes in the box, you'll find 3 different grip panels that you can interchange for different size hands. So also, if you wanted to put a laser on it, Crimson Trace makes a laser product. You just pull the pin, put the laser on, and put it back. And what it does, if you want to have a laser on your handgun, it's going to be very compact because it's actually built into the grip panel, which is an outstanding idea. So cocking serrations in the rear. There's a cocking indicator, a visual cocking indicator, if you look on the top of the chamber here. So all in all, it's pretty great polymer product. This one has a pivoting trigger for safety, whereas a Glock and the XD has a little lever. Smith & Wesson incorporates the same safety feature, but it's in a hinged trigger, so makes it kind of unique there. If you're more comfortable feeling a flat face trigger, well, the M&P has a little bit of an advantage there. Check string on the front. All in all, ambidextrous slide release, whereas the XD has a slide release on one side, and also the Glock is limited to a slide release on one side. So that's some of the obvious differences there on a quick overview of them. They weigh pretty much the same size, also within a round or two of the capacity. So if you're looking for a 9mm handgun, all three of them are very similar in what they offer the shooter. The one main difference on the Glock, guys, is the grip angle itself. The Glock angle is a little bit more, and what that means to their guy, especially who's accustomed to 1911 products, is that you have to break your wrist over center more. So your muscle memory on how to shoot a Glock is kind of a learning curve, but it's what you can say it's issued in 50 countries, whereas the XD has 9 countries, and the Smith & Wesson product, as a newcomer, is something like a 14 countries issue the Smith & Wesson. So it's an up-and-coming polymer product. So that's what we have here, the 3 main 9mm polymer frame semi-automatic pistols. Hey guys, what we're going to do next, I've got my trusty trigger pull gauge. We're going to just go through the products and do some rough guesstimations on trigger pulls. One thing you want to realize, even if it's a Smith & Wesson or an XD or a Glock, from gun to gun you can vary a few ounces, half a pound, a pound. So we're going to just kind of go for a general overview. So what you want to do, guys, whenever you do anything work like this, make sure do a visual in the chamber, no magazine, no ammunition on the table. We're going to rack it a few times. We're going to do a visual, have an empty chamber. Even though it's empty, I'm pointing in a safe spot. So got my trusty trigger pull gauge. Let's go ahead and do a couple of reads here on the Smith & Wesson and see what we can come up with. These guns are out of the box. That was 6 pounds 5 ounces, and we'll pop it again right quick and see what we get. That was 6 pounds 8 ounces. So about that. Okay, we're going to take the XD, do the same thing, visual, rack it a few times. What's interesting about the XD, with this external safety, if you try to rack the slide without engaging the safety, you cannot do it. So if you want to do it, you have to grab it in the firing position and then rack it and lock it open. So let's do a visual. We empty, no magazine, no ammunition, safe direction. You got to depress the safety, and let's see what this thing is going to give us. Let's take a look at it. It's still going. That was 8 pounds 11 ounces. Maybe I had the trigger gauge in the wrong spot. Let's try it again. That was 811. That's more like it. I had the trigger in the wrong spot. That's what's hard about these polymer guns. That was 7 pounds 14 ounces. It's really hard to keep it in the location on the trigger through the cycle. Here we go. That was right at 8 pounds. And one more time. And right at 8 pounds. So about an 8 pound trigger. Not bad. Grab the Glock here. Make sure we empty. Point in the safe direction. Nothing in the chamber. Slide down. And here we go. Let's go ahead and pop this off a few times. Right at 8 pounds. That was actually 7 pounds 9 ounces, 9.5 ounces. So let's do it again. 7 pounds 12.5 ounces. So we're right in there. There again, these polymer guns are really hard to measure with that little bit of a shoe on the front. So running pretty close. Smith & Wesson was a little bit lighter, happened to be that way. The Glock, all similar. One thing you want to realize on the polymer guns, this is the big difference in the polymer product, is how you disassemble them. And what Smith & Wesson did, being I'm a Smith & Wesson guy, one of the things that they're very proud of is on these other polymer guns is when you go to disassemble them, you have to strike them out, which means make sure it's empty, make sure it's empty, point in the safe direction, strike it out, and pull this slide assembly off. So let's start with the XD and go ahead and do that. We empty, point in the safe direction, strike it out, reach up and grab the back of the slide. This is something I've learned over the years. The best way to hold a semi-automatic pistol, to actually disassemble it, is to go ahead and grab it with your hand like this. It gives you a lot of presence there. You can hold the slide and you can release it slow and the slide assembly comes off. Something like that. I did it wrong, but there it is. But both ways you have to strike it to get it off. So we have the XD a pistol disassembled here. What you notice in the chassis is it has a steel insert where the unlocking or the camming surfaces here that take the barrel out of its firing position into its extraction cycle is a steel insert. It's pinned into the polymer frame. The rear of the frame is kind of interesting, as in the fact there's no metal here. It's all plastic. So the whole slide assembly basically rides on this steel lug, which is about, let's put the old trusty dial caliper on it, which is about 1.25 inches, almost 1 inch and 300 thousandths long, steel locking, unlocking surface. The back of the slide, the back of the frame is actually a plastic casting, which is the frame itself. So there you have it. And on the inside of the slide, you have the safety mechanisms here, which is pretty consistent with all polymer guns. You have the firing pin restraint device, which when this gun is in the cock position, the only way it's going to fire is when that trigger bar right here is in a rearward position. It deactivates the safety here, which allows the striker, when you continue with the trigger pull, to go forward and strike the cartridge and fire the handgun. So all these polymer guns are going to have these same safety features, which is kind of unique to all striker fired guns. Let's go ahead and reassemble right quick. So that's back together. Got to grab the safety. Alright, that one's back together. We'll go to the Glock for a second here and do a disassembly. On the XD, you have a lever that you push to the top of the slide to disassemble. On the Glock product, you have these two little tabs here. After you point it, make sure it's empty, and you point it in the safe direction. When empty, do a visual, everything's good. You have to point it in a safe direction, strike it out, reach up, grab the slide just a little bit and pull it to the rear. You pull down on these two tabs, and then the slide assembly comes off like this. So this is the Glock. And what do you notice on the Glock? There's several steel inserts in the frame. These tabs in the front that the slide right on, also the tabs in the back, are actually cast in the plastic when the frame is manufactured. This unlocking lug, which is the part of the frame that has the most stress, it actually pulls the barrel out of the slide assembly during the firing cycle. This is another piece of steel that's pinned into the frame. So with this product, the locator tabs in the rear and the front are actually cast into the frame, and the unlocking lug is pinned into the frame. So also the Glock has the safety features of the plunger, which prevents the firing pin from going forward unless the trigger is completely pulled to the rear. So makes it very safe to carry loaded. Glock has only one safety on the handgun, and that is the face of the trigger. Whereas the XD has the trigger shoe and also the safety on the back of the frame. So we'll go into the Smith Wesson. This is what separates this gun from the other two here, is the disassembly procedure. So we're making sure we empty here. Nothing in the chamber, got a visual, we empty. So on a Smith & Wesson, what you can do is reach in there with a pencil or whatever, deactivate the sear block by pushing down on that little piece of metal which is manufactured into the sear assembly. And when you do that, all you have to do now is reach over here, pull the disassembly lever down, and the slide comes off. The whole idea behind this is to disassemble, you do not have to strike it out, which is a big difference in the safety aspect. Most accidental discharges happen when you're doing maintenance or disassembly. So even if you had a loaded round in the chamber, which I highly recommend you do not do, it will not fire because you've deactivated the sear block in the rear. So should you be so foolish as to try to disassemble a loaded gun, this will save you. So anyway, give you an idea of what's going on in the Smith & Wesson product. You have a steel assembly in the back, a steel assembly in the back of the frame, and you have to also have a steel assembly, it's a chassis, in the front of the frame. The two lugs here that actually control the slide movement in the front are in the same piece as the unlocking lug. It's about, let's take a look at it. We have our trusty dial caliper. So it's about same as the XD. It's about almost 1.3 inches long. It's affixed to the frame with 2 pins. And the rear of the chassis is a pinned-in product also. And this is also a steel assembly which holds the sear and the other parts that we were the ejector assembly. So these are actually interchangeable. Should you have damage or you want to change it out, you can actually just physically knock the roll pin out and change the chassis out. So it's pretty neat. And it has metal front and rear, which is something I like. Also, it has the slide mounted firing pin restraint, striker fire, the captivated firing pin, and a nitrided barrel assembly. This one has white dot sights. Pretty much a very easy gun to maintain. All these products, the polymer and the nitrided finishes, are pretty much impervious to rust. So if you have a rusty polymer gun, you just haven't taken care of it in the least. So as a matter of fact, some of my competition guns, I don't think I've ever wiped the exterior of them down with oil since I've had them. So, and I'm in Louisiana, give you an idea. So there it is, guys, the 3 polymer guns, some of the differences and some of the fine points. Hey guys, we're going to go over the 3 products real quick and give you some idea of what the key things to look for. Smith & Wesson has ambidextrous slide releases. Has a light rail accessory. You got interchangeable sights should you choose, captivated mainspring, interchangeable grip panels, a trigger that's smooth on the front and hinged in the rear. So you've got that. The magazine release, if you want to swap it over, just reach in there, take the spring loose, put it around to the other side, put it back together. Pretty easy assembly. Disassembly on the magazine release. Striker fired, very safe. They also come with an external safety on some models. If you wanted that, you could have 2 safeties. So that's the M&P. The Glock product, magazine release, you can swap it over just like the M&P. You reach in there, you pull the spring over, swap it over to the other side, reassemble it, so you can have either a left or a right hand magazine release. Sights come with a white outline rear and a white dot front. You have to strike it out to disassemble it. It has a safety on the front of the trigger, so give you an idea what that is. The XD, ambidextrous magazine release. You do not have to disassemble it. It has 2 safeties, one on the grip, one on the face of the trigger, a 3-dot sighting system, and an external cocking indicator. That's a very quick overview of 3 of them. We're going to do a quick overview on size, width, length, and all that good stuff. We're going to start with the XD. Comes with a 16-round magazine. Make sure we're all empty here, empty mag. So we're going to try to pick the widest point here with the dial caliper, and that would be across the latch here on the disassembly latch. It's a 1.3 inches wide, and it's approximately about 7 1/8 inches long, and from the top of the sight to the bottom of the magazine is 5 1/2 inches. So, and that's the XD 16 round mag, 25 ounces. I've got a Smith & Wesson in front of me. Go ahead and put the magazine in it so we can take some measurements. Okay, let's find the widest point here. And we're looking at, on the slide release on both sides, there again almost exactly 1.3 inches again, guys, so about the same width. And let's take a tape measure to it. It's 7 and just a hair under 3/4 long, and from the top of the sight to the bottom of the magazine is right at 5 1/2 inches. Of course, the standard 9mm holds 17 rounds in the mag, and I think it weighs 24 ounces. So that's the M&P Smith & Wesson. Go on to the Glock here. Empty mag. Find the widest point. would be on the slide stop here. Take a quick measurement on it, and it's 1.2 inches wide on the slide stop. Take an overall, this one has the longest barrel on it. It's right about 7.5 inches on a crude measurement. Yeah, about 7.5 to the end of the grip, top of the sight to the bottom of the magazine. In stock configurations, it's 5 3/8 of an inch about, and it holds 17 rounds in the mag, and it weighs 25 ounces. So there you have it, guys, a quick overview on the 3 polymer guns. What I want to show you next is the Smith Wesson Core pistol. This is my 3-gun open division handgun. Core means competition optics ready equipment. So it's a 5-inch gun. It has the same nitrided finish as the rest of the polymer guns you saw on the table. What I've done to mine to make it a little bit more conducive for open division, I put an optics on it, and that's what the Core does. It comes with 5 different base assemblies, and it's machined out of the slide here. So all you have to do is find the right adapter, and there's 7 different optics that will fit this slide. So it was pretty easy for me to put this Vortex Razor on there. This does not co-witness the sights. 5 of the sights that you can buy will co-witness the sights should you want to do that. In my division, I'm not really looking at the metallic sights. I'm just concerned about the red dot. So it has the same lighting assembly in the front here. The rail in the front will accept the laser or light. Same trigger. Comes with a different back strap, guys. It has a textured back strap, which is pretty trick. You can get magazine wells for it. I've done a little bit of trigger work on this one, so let's see exactly what trigger weight on this one would be. Forgot what it is, so let's take a look. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, pretty heavy. I think it's 2 pounds 7 ounces. And that's something you might want to investigate on a polymer gun. 2.7 ounces, so right at 2.5 pound trigger pull on this one. You can buy trigger kits for all these things. There's a lot of pieces and parts out there, guys, if you want to race a polymer gun. So don't hesitate to get into the plastic guns. They're very durable for what they are. I was one time a strong believer in steel on steel, but the polymer is a lot more forgiving in the longevity of the product, believe it or not. So less vibration transmitted through the frame. I think these frames outlast me. So give you an idea what the Core looks like. That's my open gun. We look at some other polymer products right quick. This is the Glock 26. It's a compact 9mm. You notice it has a high capacity magazine. Pretty much the same other features as a 17 there. On a standard magazine, it's a 10-shot magazine, so it'll hold 11 rounds in the standard configurations. I know you can add boots to them, which means you can raise the magazine capacity. The only bad thing about a high capacity double wide magazine, it's a little bit wide. So something to consider there. It's a little bit more signature there if you have it in your waistband. Another product to consider in the polymer line is M&P Shield. This is a 9mm shield. It's pretty much exactly what the M&P is that I talked about earlier, except it's a thin single stack polymer pistol. This is a 9mm. It also has an external safety should you choose to use it. It has the same hinge trigger as the full-size M&Ps. It comes with 2 different magazines. One's a 7-shot and one's an 8. The 8 has a little bit of an extension to it. So if you have big hands and you want to carry an extra round in the magazine, it gives it a little bit more purchase there to carry. The downside of that is it's bigger, so it's harder to hide. So the standard magazine's a little bit shorter. Makes it a little bit easier to carry. You sacrifice 1 round, but you have portability. So same nitrided finish on the slide and the barrel. Captivated mainspring. It's just a mini M&P. It's been a great gun. So there you have it, guys. A bunch of polymer products. Can't go wrong. Okay, guys, there we have it. The 3 main manufacturers of polymer frame semi-automatic 9mm handguns in the United States. So kind of give you an idea. The Glock 17-round mag, polymer frame, made in Austria. Smith Wesson 17-round mag, made in the United States. The XD is a 16-round mag in a standard configuration, and it's made in Croatia. So across the board, I think feature for feature, the Smith & Wesson grip, they spent a lot of time and effort making this thing fit the human hand, and with the overall ability to change grip size, I'm kind of partial to the Smith & Wesson. What can I say? Anyway, if you get a chance, get out and try them. They're all 3 polymer frame, high capacity 9mm, you can't go wrong. Hey guys, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to Miculek.com. Also, like me on Facebook. You'll find a link in the description box below. Also, if you have any ideas on what you'd like to see next, or what you like and what you dislike about what we do, please keep us posted. I appreciate your comments. Thank you.